Hello. Today we're going to take a look at using the Rubicon Atlas curriculum tools that we have available to us for entering our curriculum mapping work. We're going to start first. I'm starting at the Lake Region Middle School website. If you are at this site, you always have available to you under the Quick Links menu. Down at the very bottom, you have a link to the Rubicon Atlas program, and in this case we are going to search for my name, and you would search for yours obviously. Now if you have forgotten your password, this click here for password reset is very simple to use. What happens is you will receive an email from your Lake Region Google account, and you'll get a link there to go and change your password. If you are logging in for the first time, the initial password is going to be change.me, and you'll be directed to change that password immediately. I know my password, so I'm going to type mine in and log in. And what I am brought to is a list under my curriculum of different courses that I have available to me. And I can see that I have access to this pre-algebra course. And you'll notice over here on the right-hand side it says map type, and there's an I. That means it's an individual map, that it is not linked to, say, the district pre-algebra curriculum map. This would be for me. If I were connected to the district map for pre-algebra, then it would have a D there for district, and I would be able to transfer the things that I have on my own individual map onto that district-wide map. But first, let's take a look at what I've got here. And you can see I've put in a couple of unit titles already here and said whenabouts they might occur within the school year. I'm going to, for the sake of this video, create a new unit, and that unit is going to be called Expressions and Equations. And I'm going to have that go from, say, the 13th week until the 20th week, because it's a pretty hefty unit. It's going to take some time. And so I'm going to save that, and you'll see it shows up right here in my calendar. Now you can also edit these. So for example, if Algebra's Toolbox only took 2 weeks instead of 3, I can just click and drag on that, and then I can then adjust each of the others as well, just by clicking and dragging where I want them to be in the curriculum map. Now I'm going to start filling out some information about expressions and equations. And the first thing that you'll see here is a link to Common Core standards. Now that's just the default that's there. Not all of your standards may necessarily fall under Common Core. You might have some from the main learning results or from other places, like you might have for your course. If you're, say, teaching music, you might have national standards that you might be pulling from to add your standards for each unit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Add New, and I happen to be in the Common Core area, and if you take a look up at this very top drop-down menu, this is what I was talking about. They don't necessarily all have to come from the Common Core. These that have ME here are from our learning results. We have some from 21st Century Teaching Skills here from P21, and we have some from some technology standards as well from NETS. So I'm going to start off with the Common Core mathematics, and I am going to go into grade 7. So I'm using the next drop-down menu here, and I'm just happens to be on Expressions and Equations, which is the title of my unit. And what I'm going to do is I am going to check off number 3, and number 4, or 7 EE4, and 7 EE4A. Now you'll notice that there's a little plus sign next to these numbers. That plus sign is like if you wanted to see some more information. If you didn't understand what that Common Core standard was, you can hit the little plus sign and it gives you an example. For example, if a woman blah 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 blah. All right, but I don't need that. And I am going to save that set. Now, because pre-algebra could be considered a 7th grade or an 8th grade type of course, my standards are going to come from both grade levels. So I'm going to add a couple more standards in here. And so I'm going to change this to the Common Core standards for grade 8. And in that case, I'm looking for EE7, which I did a little bit of working ahead of time to look up what these would be. You know, by all means, if you're working on this, you might scroll through, read each one, and see which ones apply, and just check off the ones you have. But for the sake of the time in the video, I kind of got ahead and looked for what I wanted to add. Now, here we go. We got underneath our standards, we have our enduring understandings and essential questions. I did a little pre-work ahead of this, but this is just the text box in here, and you'll notice it looks just like a word processor, and I can just type right in there. If I wanted to link to some document or to some website that has a list of these enduring understandings, I could do that, or I can type some things in. Well, I found a nice little resource here that has some good stuff here for our enduring understanding. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste that in here, and I'll do this. Actually, undo that, and I'm going to get rid of that as well, and just kind of neaten things up so that it looks good. And once that's done, then I'll do this. Okay. Okay, so that is my enduring understandings. My essential questions, I'm going to add these, copy them, and then paste them in here. And that's good there. Now, as far as the content, I might have some key vocabulary that I want to make sure I include in here. And so I am going to just type those words in. All right, so my key vocabulary, I'm going to bring that up here. Then down here, I'm going to get to my place where I can type, and I'm going to start typing things in. Equivalent expressions, distributive property, term, coefficient, like terms, and you get the idea. All right. We have here a list of skills. What skills will students be using? You can take a look at these, or you can just type some things in. If we look at Bloom's skills here, take a look at what you think that they're going to be doing, and you can put those skills in here. So if I think that they are going to be doing applying, I can type that in there, and that's fine. Now we've got assessments, all right? So if I have a quiz already set up, I'm going to add up this right here. The assessment name is called distributive. This is just the first quiz that I have. for this particular unit. Okay, this is other quiz and assessment type. This is going to be a summative assessment that's done at the end of studying just that section of the unit. They will have done some formative assessment stuff prior to taking this. Assessment description. This is the distributive property quiz that will be taken at the end of the section. And I can take a look at which particular standards that this quiz is going to assess. So I'm going to find here, let's see, including solutions and distributive property like terms. Okay, so I am going to take a look at that. I'm going to select P because they will have practiced at that point. Let's see, and I'm going to save that. Okay, so these are the things that are going to show up with this particular assessment. And so I would then go through the rest of the unit and add in all of the assessments I would be doing. Really, I probably wouldn't spend time putting in the formative assessment pieces. I would probably just put in the summative assessment because that's really all that anyone else is going to be looking for if they were to ever look at my unit. Down here where it says differentiation, I might have some things for students who need to have work expanded upon for them because they've mastered this pretty quickly, or I might have some things for special ed students or students who need extra help. How can I go back and help reteach things? RTI, this will really depend on the success of students. What am I going to do to go back and go through that process of what are some interventions I can have for the students that don't perform well with the assessment. And I can add in what are the different instructional activities that I'm going to do. Am I going to use websites? Am I going to have presentations for them? Are there actual, is there any simulation stuff that they can be doing? All that kind of thing, some sort of type of questioning that I might go, as well as resources. If I have a slew of different websites or different resources that students can use, we got all these different things, then I can check and add those in. This can be a really effective way of not having to go out and find all those things again. If you've got them all here in your curriculum map, you'll have access to them, or at least you'll have them all bookmarked and ready to go because you have them listed already here. Right, so these are the basics of just filling out a unit. Just so you know, you do have available to you a list of exemplars. All right, so if you're looking for an exemplar for math, or it could be just about anything, you can take a look at what some other people have created. Go ahead and check those things out and take a look at what other people have done. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can take a look at what somebody else has done and use that within your own curriculum map.